Greetings at Cheating Story Lab. Comment to share your viewing location. The instant you grasp that your entire life is a theatrical production comes unexpectedly. When the person you considered most reliable unveils themselves as the finest actor you've ever encountered, it resonates profoundly. I, Michael, recount my ordeal, where a charity event served as the backdrop for the most heart-wrenching disclosure of my existence. The series of events unfolded 3 months prior to the gala. My wife, Victoria, was chosen to receive the Community Leadership Award from our city's Business Alliance. This accolade held immense significance for her, as she had devoted years to its attainment. As a co-owner of a thriving marketing firm, Victoria's ambition, drive, and charm were qualities that initially captivated me when we began dating 8 years ago. Victoria exuded an electric aura, capable of drawing attention without effort. However, the events leading up to the gala soon took a dramatic turn. The evening was supposed to be the pinnacle of Victoria's career, but little did I know that it would instead become the stage for my life's most devastating truth. The narrative begins 3 months before the gala. My wife, Victoria, had been selected to receive the Community Leadership Award from our city's Business Alliance. This was a significant milestone for her, as she had been working towards this recognition for years. As the co-owner of a successful marketing firm, Victoria's ambition, drive, and charm were qualities that initially attracted me when we met 8 years ago. Victoria was captivating. She could enter any room and command attention effortlessly. Victoria's laughter could brighten any room, and her dedication towards aiding local nonprofits using her marketing skills was truly motivating, or so it seemed. The first indication that something was amiss occurred roughly 4 months prior to the gala. Victoria began staying late more frequently. This wasn't entirely unusual for her. However, these weren't the typical long hours. She would return home at midnight or even later, attributing her tardiness to a significant project for a new client. When I inquired about it, she would give vague responses, switch topics, or suddenly recall an urgent task that demanded attention. The real concern was sparked when she started attending client dinners that she couldn't discuss with me. She would cite confidentiality agreements as the reason. As I knew, high-profile clients demand discretion. But the issue became apparent when she began taking private phone calls or disappearing to other rooms during our encounters at home. For years, I operated my own consulting firm, but never before had I encountered a client whose identity I couldn't disclose to my spouse, not even their industry. The tipping point was 6 weeks before the gala, when I found myself needing to use Victoria's laptop since mine was being repaired. She stepped out for coffee, and upon opening it, I discovered her email conversations still open. Among them, a chilling conversation with someone named Alex Chen that sent a shiver down my spine. "Looking forward to seeing you tonight. Michael's working late again." The same hotel as last time. Room 412, he'd be there by 9. My heart sunk as I read further, discovering months of messages detailing hotel arrangements, photos that words fail to describe, and the devastating news they were planning their next meeting for the night following the gala, referring to it as their celebration. I remained frozen in front of the screen, lost in thought for what felt like an eternity. 8 years of marriage, 8 years of creating a life together, shattered before my eyes. For 8 years, I harbored the illusion of our partnership, thinking we were content, yet it was all deceit. Nevertheless, I'm not one to erupt in rage. I don't shout, I don't hurl objects, nor do I lash out angrily. Perhaps this is a flaw, but such is my nature. Instead, I closed the laptop and fell into contemplation. In the evening, Victoria returned home, discussing gala arrangements. She was ecstatic about her upcoming award, the speech she was drafting, and how it would propel her business forward. She spoke of her pride in having me there for support and how significant my presence beside her was. I nodded, asked questions, and offered encouragement, all while internally plotting. Over the following weeks, I delved into research about Alex Chen, a photographer adept at corporate events. Married with 2 children, he ran a thriving business. His spouse, Helen, was a pediatric nurse. They appeared to be an amiable family, judging by their social media posts. Unaware of her spouse's activities, the situation mirrored my ignorance concerning Victoria. Contemplating a direct approach with Victoria, I knew the outcome would be denial, excuses, promises to mend, possibly even placing blame on me. Counseling sessions would follow, with Victoria becoming more adept at masking her infidelity, and I'd spend my days doubting her fidelity or her skill in concealing it. Instead, I desired irrefutable evidence, evidence that could not be denied. This was the point when I made a decision that would alter everything. Victoria was anxious about me making a fool of her at the gala. Plead not to share your dad jokes, she'd said, and don't drink excessively. This event is crucial for my career. Do not embarrass me. The irony wasn't lost on me. She was concerned about my embarrassing her while she was involved in an affair. I enlisted a discreet and meticulous private investigator. In 2 weeks, I had all the evidence I needed. Photographic proof, hotel receipts, credit card bills, and video recordings from hotel surveillance cameras. The evidence against her was indisputable and heart-wrenching, but I remained uncertain about what course of action to take. A divorce appeared unavoidable, yet a part of me hoped Victoria might confess. Perhaps if she displayed sincere remorse, we could reconcile somehow. 2 weeks before the gala, I endeavored to provide her an opportunity for confession. "Victoria," I said one night, "is there something you'd like to disclose?" "Absolutely nothing," she responded. "If there are any issues, we can handle them together." She looked at me with what seemed like genuine bewilderment. "What do you mean, everything is fine? Are you all right? You seem quiet lately." Clearly, she had no intention of confessing the truth. She planned to accept the award for community leadership while concealing her affair behind my back. The duplicity was astounding. That's when I made up my mind. On the fated night of the gala, Victoria, radiant in her navy blue gown, was brimming with anticipation. "I can hardly believe this is happening," she exclaimed as we traversed towards the hotel. "This accolade will revolutionize our lives." I nodded in agreement, keeping my sentiments subdued. The gala, filled with around 300 individuals including the mayor, city council members, and most of the city's business tycoons, exuded elegance. Victoria skillfully navigated the crowd like a seasoned pro, presenting me as her dedicated spouse to each acquaintance we encountered. Each introduction felt like a knife piercing deeper during the cocktail hour. I discreetly stepped away to confer with the AV coordinator, all arrangements already in place. The presentation I had meticulously prepared was primed and waiting for its moment. Just one click could transform Victoria's acceptance speech slideshow into something unexpected, as dinner became uncomfortably prolonged. Victoria graced the head table as one of the recipients. I found myself at a neighboring table with some of her coworkers and their spouses, all discussing how exceptional Victoria was, how she richly deserved this accolade, and how she served as an inspiration to other businesswomen. Jennifer, another marketing executive, commented, "You must be so proud." She added, "Victoria serves as a role model, and the work she's done for Children's Hospital Charity is truly remarkable." I returned her smile and nod, but inwardly I was contemplating those late nights that were supposedly dedicated to charity. Finally, I understood where Victoria had been spending her time. The moment for award distribution approached. Victoria was the third of 5 honorees, so she would ascend the stage shortly. She sent me an enthusiastic wave from the head table, and I reciprocated with a toast and smile. Unaware of what lay ahead, the initial 2 awards were handed out without issue. Then Mayor Williams approached the microphone. "Our following laureate has been a significant influence in our commercial sector for more than a decade," he started. "Her marketing company has aided numerous local charities in telling their tales and securing essential funds. Let's acknowledge Victoria Morrison for the Community Leadership Award." The audience broke into applause. Victoria moved forward gracefully, reaching the podium. She appeared radiant, self-assured, perfectly at ease. The screen behind her showed the first slide of what she believed was her prepared presentation, a photo of herself at various charity events. Victoria commenced her speech. She expressed gratitude towards the business alliance, her peers, her staff. She spoke about the significance of contributing to the community, the importance of ethical conduct in business, and setting an example for other women. "If none of this had transpired," she stated, fixing her gaze on me, "it would not have been achievable." She credited her extraordinary husband Michael for his unwavering support, describing him as her rock, partner, and dearest friend for 8 remarkable years. The audience reacted with appropriate awe, several individuals at my table returning smiles in my direction. This moment was mine to claim. I dispatched the pre-written message to the AV manager from my phone. "Now," Victoria continued her speech, yet behind her the presentation subtly altered. Instead of displaying photographs from the charity event, an entirely different kind of image emerged on the screen, a picture captured merely 2 weeks ago by my private investigator, depicting Victoria and Alex Chen exiting a hotel together. The audience did not immediately perceive this change. Victoria continued discussing community service and moral obligations. However, gradually, eyes shifted from her words to the screen. I observed as bewilderment crossed faces throughout the room. Whispers filled the air, and people began covertly pointing at the image on display. Victoria continued talking, oblivious to the commotion behind her. Integrity isn't merely a business virtue, she stated. It's a lifestyle choice. It involves honesty even in private, doing what's right despite the challenges. As the next image appeared, a crisper photo of Victoria and Alex kissing in the hotel parking lot, murmurs filled the room. Whispers grew louder and gasps echoed through the audience. It was then that Victoria noticed something amiss. The room's attention had shifted from her. She glanced at the screen to find her confident expression replaced by one of confusion, then horror in a matter of seconds. The most damning evidence was displayed on the final slide. A screenshot of Victoria's text messages with Alex, revealing their plans for a celebration the following night. Victoria stood frozen at the podium, her mouth agape and face pale. The room fell silent as 300 pairs of eyes shifted between the screen and her. Mayor Williams hesitated, evidently uncertain of his next move. The audiovisual coordinator, likely panicking, had halted the presentation at the final incriminating slide. Victoria looked at me across the room, and I could see her understanding what transpired in an instant. Not anger, not denial, but a heavy realization of being exposed. She departed from the podium without uttering another word, heading towards the exit. Every individual in that room witnessed her departure. The silence was oppressive. I remained seated at my table for a minute longer, concluding my wine as the room hummed with astonished dialogue. Eventually, I rose, walked to the front of the room, and addressed the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said serenely, "I apologize for the disturbance. At times, the truth arrives at inopportune moments." Victoria would not be delivering her acceptance speech tonight. I left the trophy on the podium and exited. Victoria was by our car in the parking lot, weeping. Not tears of deceit intended to escape consequences, but sobs of someone whose life just crumbled in public view. "For how long have you been aware?" she questioned. 6 weeks, I replied. "Why did you reveal it this way? Because you had 6 weeks to disclose the truth and yet chose not to, because you were planning to. Accept an award for honesty while arranging a hotel meeting with Alex. Because sometimes people need to see one's true character." We traveled home in silence. Victoria left the next day. The divorce documents were filed a week later. The news swiftly swept through our business circle. Victoria's company lost several key clients as a result. Alex's wife, Helen, also filed for divorce. The charity that Victoria claimed to aid distanced themselves from her publicly. Am I sorry for how I dealt with it? At times, yes, it was harsh, public, and devastating, but I have no regrets about unveiling the truth. Victoria had made her choices for 3 years. Lied to and betrayed in marriage, she accepted accolades for her honesty while secretly continuing deceit. The gala was meant to celebrate her triumph, but instead served as her reckoning. Sometimes that's exactly what betrayal deserves, the truth, she revealed at the worst possible time to those who needed to hear it most. 6 months later, I'm rebuilding my life. It's not easy, but it's honest. After 8 years of living a lie unknowingly, honesty now feels like the greatest luxury I could ask for. That's my story. Sometimes the one who advises you not to humiliate them is the one already humiliated. They just don't know everyone can see it yet. Thank you for watching. If this story resonates with you, please like and subscribe. And remember, truth eventually reveals itself. The only question is whether you'll be the one controlling when and how it happens. Until our next encounter, this is Cheating Story Lab, emphasizing that authenticity transcends actions under scrutiny. It's about the true character revealed when unobserved.